very good evening. Welcome to State of Business on Art Television. I'm Ashinsani Veerasinghe and let's have a look at the headlines first. 10th COVID-19 death in Sri Lanka reported today evening. Curfew in Colombo and Gampaha districts, which was imposed for more than 2 months, will be lifted at 4 a.m. tomorrow. News in detail. The 10th death from the novel coronavirus in Sri Lanka was reported today evening. The deceased is a returnee from Kuwait. A 51-year-old female arrived from Kuwait who had been undergoing the quarantine process at Trincomalee Quarantine Centre has died from the virus this evening. Hence, the total count of COVID-19 deaths in the country goes up to 10. The Ministry of Health announced that 7 more persons have tested positive for coronavirus, raising the total number of confirmed cases in the country to 1,148 as of 3 p.m. today. All these new COVID-19 cases are returnees from Kuwait and were at the Min Area Quarantine Centre. In the meantime, the ministry said that 52 new cases were identified yesterday. 49 of them were returnees from Kuwait, 2 of them were Navy personnel, and the other was a returnee from Indonesia. Subsequently, 20 more naval personnel who have contracted the COVID-19 have made complete recoveries from the virus today evening. Accordingly, more than 300 naval personnel have been recovered from the disease so far. Moreover, with completion of their quarantine process, another 14 persons who engage in international ship security duties left the quarantine centre established at Busa Naval Base today. These persons were sent off for homes following the healthcare guidelines of the government and also given away the quarantine certificates by the Navy. As of now, 193 persons have left the Busa Naval Quarantine Centre after successful completion of their quarantine process. Meanwhile, 85 more Sri Lankans are currently undergoing the quarantine process at this centre. Moreover, another batch of 39 returnees from Malaysia quarantined at the Ayurveda Teaching Hospital in Rajagiriya were sent home today after the completion of the process.
For all the facilities that you provided us, we were in the period of Ramazan, and the food that was provided to us was really useful because they brought it on time for iftar and for fasting. Both time we got it on time. It was really helpful. They were very kind. From the airport, when I came, I was really scared. I was so scared to see all the military people there. But then after coming here, I felt so comfortable and they were very friendly and supportive.
Moving on, as per the Health Promotion Bureau information, 695 patients have recovered from COVID-19 as of 3 p.m. today. There are 444 active COVID-19 patients in the country. In the meantime, 1,742 PCR tests have been conducted in the country yesterday and more than 54,000 PCR tests have been conducted in Sri Lanka so far. Island-wide curfew, which is imposed at present, will be lifted at 4 a.m. tomorrow and will be reimposed at 10 p.m. on the same day. Officials announced that curfew will be in force only in the night from 10 p.m. to 4 a.m. daily from tomorrow onwards. The government will lift countrywide curfew for 18 hours for the first time from tomorrow. Accordingly, the curfew in Colombo and Gampaha districts, which is in force for more than 2 months, will be lifted at 4 a.m. tomorrow and reimposed at 10 p.m. on the same day. People's movements between districts except Colombo and Gampaha will be permitted from tomorrow onwards. Thus, the inter-provincial bus services will resume from tomorrow except in Colombo and Gampaha districts. The inter-provincial buses coming from Kandy will be stopped at Nittamua. Buses coming from Galle will be terminated at Panathura, and those coming on low-level and high-level roads via Avisavela are stopped at Avisavela. Buses heading to Colombo from Anuradhapura, Putlam and Kuliyapitiya via Negombo will have to terminate at Negombo, and those coming on the Southern Expressway will be stopped at Kottava. The starting time of all buses is 4:30 a.m. and terminating time is 6 p.m. In the meantime, Sri Lanka police states that more than 64,000 persons have been arrested for violating the curfew since March 20th, while more than 18,000 vehicles were taken into custody. During the last 24 hours ending at 6 a.m. today, 1,710 individuals have been arrested for violating curfew and 557 vehicles were also taken into custody during this period. Colombo Stock Exchange today announced that it will extend trading by 90 minutes ending at 2:30 p.m. with authorities lifting daytime curfews in all districts. CSE officials also added that they also received some requests from the stakeholders to extend trading hours. Colombo Stock Exchange, in a statement to the media, said that trading will start at 11 a.m. However, the pre-open session will have a half an hour from 10:30 a.m. to 11 a.m. Accordingly, regular trading will commence after the open auction at 11 a.m. and market will be closed at 2:30 p.m. Meanwhile, stocks closed 0.32% higher on Friday, easing intraday highs while banks continue to make gains. All share price index climbed 15.09 points to 4,799.89. The S&P SL20 index of more liquid stocks, however, came down by 0.13% or 2.66 points to 2,034.38. Lions Brewery Ceylon gained 47 rupees and 70 cents to trade at 498 rupees and 10 cents a share, contributing most to ASPI's gain. John Keel's Holdings was up by 1 rupee and 40 cents, closing at 104 rupees and 10 cents a share, and Commercial Leasing and Finance stock advanced 20 cents to 2 rupees and 90 cents a share. Market turnover for the 3 consecutive days went above the 1 billion mark to end on Friday at 2 billion rupees, with 69 stocks making gains and 96 stocks falling. Index-heavy banking counters including Commercial Bank, Hatton National Bank and Sampath Bank were traded. The banking sector contributed 1.3 billion rupees or roughly 65% to the market on Friday. Stay tuned for more news after this short break. Welcome back after the break. UNP leader and former Good Governance Regime Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe says that the government must soon provide a report over the country's economic situation. Making a statement to the media, he says that the silence of the government on this regard will further aggravate the adverse situation. UNP leader Ranil Wickremesinghe says that the government is in a critical condition as they failed in maintaining the country's economy properly. He says that international rating agencies such as Fitch, Moody's and Morgan Stanley have brought Sri Lanka to the position of unstable. At the same time, he adds that, however, all 3 agencies appreciated the Sri Lanka's economy in 2018. Further, UNP leader also says that the debt burden on Sri Lanka for this year will be almost 93% of the country's GDP. He also added that the amount will be increased 100% in 2021 as the total debt due for that year will be $10 billion. Wickremesinghe further added that according to the constitution, the government should furnish its economic plans and financial situation to the country, and the final report was released on the 23rd of March. He further adds that the March 23rd report is no more valid as it was presented for a scheduled election and the situation has been completely changed now. Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa says that the COVID-19 pandemic has left all Sri Lankans with only one option, and that is building Sri Lanka. In a statement to the media, Premier Rajapaksa says that the aim is very clear and all Sri Lankans need to work together to reach the target. Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa, who is also the Finance Minister, says that the country was taken to a path of development just after the defeat of the separatist war with the LTTE. Quoting the International Monetary Fund, he says that Sri Lanka was among the fastest growing economies in Asia in 2014. Premier Rajapaksa, who led the country during the final war, says that the economic growth, which was averaged 6% during the war years from 2006 to 2009, was increased to 7.4% in the post-war years from 2010 to 2014. He also adds that the debt to GDP ratio was reduced from 90% in 2005 to 75% at the end of 2014. He further says that the per capita GDP in US dollar terms increased threefold from 1,242 US dollars in 2005 to 3,819 US dollars by the end of 2014. Prime Minister Rajapaksa highlights that, however, everything began to go in reverse after January 2015. He points out that the economic growth rate dropped to 5% in 2015 and declined year after year, ending up at 2.3% by 2019. He further shows that Sri Lanka's total outstanding debt increased to 12.89 trillion rupees by October 2019 from 7.39 trillion rupees at the end of 2014. The former president also stresses that was the period which the country was introduced the mega infrastructure development programs, assuring a bright future for the country. Therefore, he invites all Sri Lankans to join in the development path which is being led by President Gotabaya Rajapaksa, wiping out the scars created by the COVID-19 pandemic worldwide. The 76th session of the United Nations Economic and Social Commission for Asia and the Pacific was successfully conducted on a virtual platform for the first time in its history due to the COVID-19 situation. The session deliberated on promoting economic, social and environmental cooperation on oceans for sustainable development, reiterating commitments to realize SDG 14 on life below water as its key theme for the session. Delegations engaged on a discussion on regional cooperation to address the socio-economic effects of the global health crisis, where Sri Lanka joined in co-sponsoring the resolution presented by the Secretariat, emphasizing the need for collaborative action in response to the challenges posed by COVID-19 pandemic to the world and particularly to the developing countries in the most populous Asia and the Pacific region. The Sri Lankan delegation, led by Sri Lanka's permanent representative to the United Nations Economic and Social Commission for Asia and the Pacific, Ambassador Samantha K. Jayasuriya, showcased Sri Lanka's policies and best practices in the thematic area of oceans for sustainable development. Ambassador Jayasuriya, in her capacity as the chair of the open-ended working group for reviewing the conference structure of the Commission pursuant to the Resolution 73/1, presented the chair's summary to the Commission recommending further negotiations on the subject. Inaugurating the session online, United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres stated that the governments and leaders are grappling with a wide range of challenges that risk recent progress in the Asia-Pacific region and around the world, and all have an opportunity to build back better on the foundations of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. The 76th Commission session was attended by over 264 delegates representing 54 member states and associate members and 8 additional observer countries. And that's all the news for today. Join us tomorrow on State of Business at the same time. Until then, take care.